Going to be going live in about 3 minutes. I just want to check that the audio is working because I was supposed to have some music on that countdown and it wasn't. So let's go in a minute. Just checking the camera's working. Yeah. Hey everyone. So back for another live stream today. Made a couple of changes. Just I'm trying to get like a countdown screen working nicely. I seem to have the countdown working fine, but it was supposed to be playing audio and I don't think it was. So I'll need to figure that out for the next time. I've also changed this top banner that I have, so you can see it like right up here. So I have some like Twitter, Twitch, and all that, just like I did before. But this, like the style of it's just changed a little bit. This is actually now a web page. So before it was just an image. Now it's a web page, and my plan is to start adding a couple of things in here, like follower counts and stuff like that over time as the channel kind of develops and so on. I've also moved the tasks. So when I move over to the main layout that I have when I'm streaming, you'll see my tasks like down here. They were previously running on a laptop that's like on the same network as this machine, but I've actually ported that over to this machine now. So I'll just manage it all from here. And yeah, that's kind of all the changes I've made from the stream perspective. So today, there's a few things that I want to do. I'm going to take a little bit of a change of pace. And rather than focus on the list, the activity feed list and post form, like we have been in the last kind of 4 episodes, I'd like to take a change of pace and kind of move on from that, because I feel, it's been quite a while now. I'm working on a lot of very kind of, like nice to have features, but what I'd like to do is come back to some of those things at a later point and finesse them rather than getting bogged down in them right now, because there's a whole lot of functionality that I want to build into this project, and I'm not getting the chance to when I'm stuck in the weeds on those kind of little things. So there's a few things that I'm going to do. This slight change of pace today. So what we're going to look at doing is we're going to be, first we're going to set the project up on GitHub. So I mentioned this the last time. This project has been developed in the open. It'll be an open source project. I'm going to make it a public GitHub repository, so anybody will be able to go in there from now on and actually view the code, and you'll be able to see as we work through each episode what changes are being made and so on. So if anybody wants to jump in, have a look, maybe you see some stuff in there and you want to ask some questions or create some issues and things like that, that'd be fantastic, and that'll all frame future episodes of this stream. So I'm going to get it up and running on GitHub first. The next thing I'm going to do then is, so right now our app has a single view, right? So if I bring it up just really quickly, let's see. So let's go into, I'm hoping my keyboard is a little bit quieter today. I haven't bought like a fancy new keyboard. I haven't bought a boom arm for my mic or anything like that. But what I have done is I put like this really soft kind of matte thing underneath the keyboard, and hopefully that's going to dampen out most of the noise that was coming from it. So we'll see how it goes. So be helpful if I type properly. Okay, so what were we doing? We were npm run watch. So essentially right now the project has a single view. It has the feed, right? So you can post to the feed and you can view the posts on the feed, but there's nothing else to it really, right? So what I'm going to be looking at doing today is bringing in a library called React Router, or React Router, which is going to allow us to have a little bit more to our application than just this single view. So we'll be bringing React Router into the project first. The next thing we're going to do after that is actually implement a second screen. So the second screen that I want to implement is basically that you'll be able to view an individual post, right? So rather than just seeing, this post here, I would be able to, rather than seeing the entire list of posts, I could click on, let's say the timestamp here, and it will bring me to a view that shows me just that individual post. Now that's not going to be too important right now, with the exception maybe of being able to share a link directly to an individual post. But over time, as we add things like commenting and other features, it is going to be important that people are able to drill into an individual post and see more detail behind it. So we're going to implement that using React Router now. The other thing that I'd like to do today is focus on allowing the user to actually edit their profile. So things like their name, a very simple example, but also introducing user avatars. So a user should be able to upload their own avatar, and that will display next to their name anywhere that their user is referenced in the application. So we'll be adding avatar support. The other thing that we'll be doing is we'll be adding a fallback. So if the user doesn't have an avatar, then what we're going to do is essentially generate an avatar on their behalf, and we're going to use basically the initials in their name to create that avatar. So we'll try and get to that towards the end of this live stream. And that's it. So rather than dwelling on it too much further, let's jump right in and get started. So I'm just going to bring up Visual Studio Code. Perfect. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set us up on GitHub, right? So right now I don't even have a Git repository for this code, which is obviously dangerous. So all of these last streams, if anything happened to this computer, I could have lost all of the progress that I had made over the first 4 streams. But fear not, we're gonna resolve that problem now. So I'm just going to init a new Git repository in the Retrosumo project directory, and I'm going to create the first commit, which is basically that famous old initial commit, right? So let's do that. And so right now I have a Git repository on my local machine, but what I really want to do is I want to publish that up to GitHub. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to push it, but I'm going to need to set up a remote on my Git instance locally. So what I'll need to do is go into GitHub, and let's make this a little bit bigger. Just in case you're wondering, I've set up like a fresh GitHub user that's completely separate from everything else that I do, which is why there's nothing in here on my own. This isn't my own personal GitHub. This is one I'm just going to use dedicated for live streaming. So obviously I'd have access to repositories that I wouldn't want everybody who's watching this to have access to. So I'm just going to keep it nice and safe and have a completely dedicated user and repository and everything for this project. So we're going to create a new repository, and we'll call it Retrosumo. We'll call it I suppose we'll call it Retrosumo for now. We may want to change that in the future, but we'll say the Retrosumo web application project. We can always change that if we need to. We're going to keep it public, and we're not going to initialize it. We're just going to create the repository. And once that's done, we get a couple of commands that we can basically run on the command line. And oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to, just to be safe, I'm going to do something here. All right. Okay, so that should now be up on GitHub. And sure it is. So I'm just going to dismiss the actions pop-up. So here we go. So if you go on to github.com/retrosumo/retrosumo right now, you should see the project in its current state. And you can go in there and work away on that, create issues, do whatever you want. Start a project would be great. And if a few people start a project, I might bring the number of GitHub stars in and put it up in that top bar for future live streams. So that's GitHub done. And so from here on out, I'm going to be committing my changes each episode and pushing them up to GitHub, so you'll be able to see them. And I'll come back at a later time and add a README and flesh out the repository in terms of the structure of it and so on. But for now, we have it up there, and that's job done. So we can say we've published to GitHub. So just in case you're wondering, this is a small little like custom app I wrote to build out the bottom bar that you see at the bottom of the stream with all of the tasks, and it's a small little Laravel and React app that I use to manage it. So I'm just going to save that, and what should happen is down at the bottom of the screen, that particular task should like go have a line with a gray, should have a gray line through it. It should turn gray and should have a tick next to it. We'll see as that happen momentarily. But I'm going to jump back now, and that's publishing to GitHub done. So we can close down GitHub. The next thing that I want to do is I want to start working on the React. So I want to basically add in multiple screens, right? So in order to do that, we're going to have to, I'm just looking, this doesn't seem to have checked off, which is weird. So let me just see. Okay, so this isn't working. Of course it's not. And why would it be? Let's see. Okay, so now it should be working. So that should update in a couple of seconds. This bar basically repopulates every 15 seconds or so. So that should now be checked off. And it is. Okay, right. So coming back to the app. So what I want to do is essentially bring in the ability to have a second screen, right? So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to bring in a new library. So we're going to bring in React Router, or React Router as we call it here in Ireland. So if I go in here, pretty simple to install, as usual, you just say npm install react router DOM. I'm going to call it router from now on because that's how we call it here. But when I say router, just assume I mean router if you're stateside. Okay, so we've installed React Router DOM. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to basically add a second root to our project. So if I hop back to Visual Studio Code, there's a couple of things that we're going to need to do. So the first thing is I want this view to always be, that's the root. So that's the one that exists like at the just the slash right at the top level. So if I just bring up my directory structure for a second, let's have a look at what we have. So we've got app.jsx, and in here we're just basically including the post screen like this, right? So that's fine, and that works. But what I'd like to do is I would like to now have that behind a root, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a couple of things from React Router. So I know we need browser router. I know we'll need root. We will need redirect, root, and switch. I think are the things we will need in here from React Router DOM. So browser provider, I'm just going to wrap around the entire app. So like that, and once we've done that, then what we can do is we can essentially contain our code in different roots, right? So one of the things that I'm not sure of here now is the nav bar and what we have there, right? So I'll just give it a go, but the first thing, I'm going to move this code into the post component itself. So I'm going to find my, let me see, where's the post component? It's here. So where's the return? It's here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is basically replace this fragment with that div, and then I can take that out of here. And okay, there should be no change, or it should break. Why did that break? Oh, I've got errors. Sorry. Browser provider is not. Sorry, browser router. No, browser router, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do then is I'm going to put a switch in here. Now, I'm not sure if I'll need to bring my nav down a level or anything, but we'll see how we get on. So what I'm going to be doing is instead of loading my post method loading my post UI like this, instead I'm going to be saying root exact path / and I think its component is post. So if we do that, then okay, it still works. So that's that. But what I'd like to do next is, let's say, so we have post. Let's say, should we add post show into that component? Probably not. Post show into that. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to do that for now. I may need to start extracting components out of this post component here, but we'll come back to that, right? So what I'm going to do here is say export const post show is equal to, and let's just say a nice individual post for now, right? Drives me mad when that happens, so I'm just going to wrap it in another div, so it doesn't try and reformat it onto one line. Okay, so a nice individual. Okay, that's not what I was going for, but that'll do. Then what I can do is I can say, okay, well, what if we had path posts? So just even posts, we'll start with that for now, right? But we'll want to pass some parameters to that fairly lively. So let's go with that for starters. And then if we go to post, okay, so there's one problem with what I'm doing here, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the first thing I'm going to want to do is put in some way for this to actually redirect. I need to put in a mechanism which basically allows us to redirect to this path, right? So I'm going to go into my list, not my list. Let me see, what have we got? Post feed. Okay, so in post feed we've got a post feed item, and then in post feed item we have a timestamp somewhere, right? Here we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make the timestamp, if I can find it here. I want to make that a link. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another. I'm going to bring in a link component from React Router DOM. I just call it router. Let's see, post feed item. So timestamp. Let's see. So we're going to say link to, and I'm just going to say post for now. But let's see what happens when we do that. So it still works, but you can see I can now, it's now linking to /post. And when I click on that, it brings me to this screen where I see this this new message, a nice individual, which is cool, right? So that's basically what I wanted, right? So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to like very quickly put in a way for us to get back to the root. So let's see if we go to nav.jsx. I'll also bring in link from React Router DOM, and we will change this to a link as well. So when we do that, okay, so if I go back, reload, and then I go to this, and then I go back, it'll work as long as I'm still within the JavaScript, right? So as long as I'm not loading a new page from the server, this is going to work fine. What's happening here is when I reload this page, you'll see I'm getting a 404 not found, and that's because this is trying to access the post route from the server side. So Laravel is like looking for a route named with the URI post, and it's not finding anything, so it's returning a 404. So what we need to do is, because we're going to be basically deferring everything outside of the API to the front end, from a routing perspective, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically use a nice little trick to get Laravel to play nicely with our new approach, right? So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put in an optional argument into this route. God almighty, I'm going to drive myself crazy. And I'm going to say where path is dot star. And what that syntax is going to do is basically say, no matter what you put into this path, like it'll basically treat it as an argument. Whereas if I didn't have this, what would happen is this argument would work for this one, but if I wanted to do like post one or post one edit or something like that, then it would still try and actually intercept that route. So what this should do is it should make it work, and it does. So now if I reload the page, boom, works. Great. So that's kind of the basic mechanics of React Router working. So we now have the ability to jump from one screen to another. The next thing that I want to do is, if I just actually check that off, seeing as it's done. And the next thing that I want to do is what do I want to do? I want to put in the functionality for viewing a single post. So that page should now essentially show an individual post. Now, there's a couple of things that we're going to need to do in order to be able to make this work. The first thing is, so right now these are linking to like /post, but every single post is linking to the same thing, right? So that's not much good to us. So I'm actually going to refresh the database because there's a lot of junk posts in there. So I'm just going to reload the database, and I'm going to factory app post 50 create. Okay, and exit, and then we'll reload. Okay, so now we have all of these posts, and they're all pretty recent. So what I need to do is I need basically this link to link specifically to this particular post. So it's pretty easy to do that. So all I need to do is I need to make a couple of changes to how I'm setting up my client-side routes. the first thing I need to do is change the root here to accept an argument, right? So what I want to pass in is basically a post ID. So that's the syntax, I think, without checking the docs. I think that's the syntax I need to use. And then the second thing I need to do is I need to change this to pass through that ID. So I'm going to change this to a different type of syntax, and then I'm going to say ID. I think I have ID already extracted out. I do. Okay. So when I save that and it reloads, this time you see post 50, post 49, post 48, post 47, etc., etc., etc. Right? I might come back at another point and talk about the actual the IDs that are used here. I don't like that it's like a sequential number and it's just using the ID, the primary key from the database for this, because I don't know. I would prefer if it was something a little bit more unique and that you couldn't guess from one to the other. But I guess in this particular instance, it doesn't really matter. But we might come back and have a look at a library called hash IDs in the not too distant future to rectify that particular thing. So for now, if I click on this, it brings me back to that page and it works, right? So that's cool. But as you can see, it's not bringing through the post or anything, so it's not that cool. So let's correct that and see how we get that up and running, right? So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to look at what our post show screen looks like, right? So in here, now, the obvious way to pass this through would be to basically somehow hook the data into the link component here to say pass through the post, the detail of the post, because it's not that much data. I mean, it's like a name, timestamp, and some text. Obviously, it'll flesh out and things over time, but I'm not sure if that's actually something that you can do. So I'm just going to have a quick look and see on the link method what parameters there are. So link to. Yeah, so this is what I was thinking, right? So you can state to persist to the location. So I think if we add stuff onto state here, we can actually read them from the component that we go to, right? So if I in this link method actually add the state of this post into the link using that state method, I can then read that in here. Now, there's one big caveat with that, and that is that that's assuming that I've navigated to this URL, right? So that I've used this link to navigate to this URL. If I go directly to the URL, then that's obviously not going to work. So, but with that said, I would like to have that performance. Have the ultimate performance be where when you click on this, it shows up instantly. It doesn't need to go and fetch anything from the server, and it only really needs to fetch from the server if the user goes to the URL directly. So let's have a think about that. There's actually, do you know what? Before I go into that, there's one thing that I definitely want to crack before going any further, and that is that right now you'll notice that it's like bringing me from one screen to the other screen, right? So what I would prefer to happen is that when I click on this link, that it opens as a modal, right? So instead of showing up the way it shows up right now, that it actually shows as a modal over the current screen. So let's figure out how to do that. I'm pretty sure we can. There's something in the documentation here about creating modal routes. Modal gallery. Okay. So what's this? Tomato. That didn't work. Crimson. Okay. Okay. So yeah, where's the code for this? View. Sandbox. Okay. So I was hoping for more of kind of a tutorial on how to do these, but anyway. So example, blah 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 blah. Okay. Scroll restoration, code splitting, philosophy test. Okay. None of this is any good to me. And example.js. Okay, this looks a bit more promising. So we have a modal switch. Modal switch then has a switch with a few things in it, which are fine. Oh yes, this is what it was, right? So what we need to do, the first thing is that like you can have this show up in a couple of different ways. So you can have it show up, if we have a quick look here, the way we have it defined already, which is to define it using this, or it can be if it's set as a modal, then it could show the, what I want to do is I wanted to show this page in the background when it's showing this in a modal. So let's see, how do we do that? I think I'm onto the right track with this, right? So yeah, like that's what I want. So that's the background and location state. Okay. I think, yeah. So this piece of state is set when one of the gallery links is clicked. The background state is the location that we were at when one of the gallery links was clicked. If it's there, use it as the location for the switch. So we show the gallery in the background behind. Okay. Right. So is that what we want to do? I think it probably is, to be fair. So let's figure that out. So the first thing I need to do is return and change this to just not immediately return. We're actually going to want to do some stuff in here. So I'm going to say const background is equal to location.state and location.state.background, just like they do here, but I know I need to use location, right? So we need to add use location onto our imports here, and then we need to say, let's see, so const location is equal to use location. I'm not sure why they're using let instead of const. It's probably just a preference thing. So then switch. Okay, so in our switch here, you say location is equal to background or location. Okay. Yeah, okay. Not sure what the story is with that, but anyway. And then show the modal when a background page is set. Okay, so what that does then is it says, so if background, then root path post ID. They're using children, which is interesting. And they also use a different component. So they're using children and they're saying modal. It's interesting. I'm not sure why they're using children. Actually, wouldn't mind seeing what the difference is. So let's just pop back to root. And what have we got? So you can, yeah, you can include it directly inside like that. So what's the difference between either, right? Okay, a React component to render only when the location matches. It'll be blah blah blah. Render is inline rendering. Fine, we don't need to use that. And children, sometimes you need to render whether the path matches the location or not. Huh. I don't know about that one. Takes precedence over. Okay, not sure. Not sure about that one. I guess seeing as they're using it in the example, we probably should use it here as well. So let's do that. I don't like that it's a separate component. Like, what happens if I just put it in as post show? What will happen then? Okay, so it'll fail. Cannot read property location of undefined. What? In index.js. Okay, so obviously not in there. Use location. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, this is getting a little frustrating. So let's jump back here and see. We've got blah blah blah. Browser use location is coming from React router DOM. And let location. Okay, maybe I need to have it as a let. It seems a bit bonkers, but yeah, it doesn't seem to make any difference. Cannot read property location undefined. I'm not trying to access location as a property though. Oh man, okay, hang on. I must be missing something here. So okay. I didn't expect to get stumped so early with this one. Switch location, background, or location. Let's try and rule out what this might be. So if it's down here, then yeah, okay. So it's not that. Is it this? Nope. It's this. What? And background's not defined, so obviously that's not going to work. And so then comment that out, and we're back to normal. No. Valid hook call. Hooks can only be. Where am I calling a hook? Okay. This should be a lot easier than it is. Mismatching version. No, okay. Like I'm not using a hook, so unless I need to take it out. Use state at post. Oh, for God's sake, what is going on here? So use state under. Oh shit. Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong here. So it's this children. It doesn't like this. It wants to be a component. So when I reload this, that works. Okay. So what happens when I do this? Obviously fails because I don't have background. So let's bring these back in and let's see if they work this time. No, of course they don't. Ugh. And because I've taken out the use location. All right. Does this work? Boom, no. Cannot read property location of undefined. What the? Cannot read property, blah, 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 blah. Use location. To add the, oh, for God's sake, okay. What's the context provider? What's going on here? Okay. That's a test. What? With router. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Link over there. Books are the same, blah, blah, blah. And happy, blah, blah, blah. I can share code hosting that. But... oh, I'm looking in the wrong. Okay, let's have a look at their browser provider. Router, browser router, nothing. Nothing. So how the is this working? No, I don't see any context providers or anything like that in here. So, it's because I'm in the same Oh, okay, hang on. I wonder, is it because I'm doing this before I actually have this, right? So do I need to create a lower level, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this, right? I'm going to create a router.jsx file, and we're going to import React from React, and we're going to export const router is equal to blah, blah, blah. And then we'll export default router. And what we can do in here is return some stuff. So what I'd like to do then is in here, do all of this stuff. And I'll probably need to wrap that in a fragment. And then what we can do is say, okay, take that. This can just be router here and bring that down here, and then import route switch and use location from React router down. Okay, and then when we have that, we then need to bring these from over here. We're in the same directory, so that's fine, and we can take out all this crap out of here. After going through all this hassle, I really hope this works. Router is not defined, of course it's not. So okay, so let's do that, and wait, okay, it works. So it's not doing anything different, but that's okay, I think. So let's go into router and see what's going on in here. So we've got, oh yeah, I'm not actually doing what I said I should have in here earlier. So location, background, or location. All right, let's see how that works. Okay, so it's still doing the same thing, but that's because I'm not passing any state when I actually call something. So let's have a look at how they're actually passing stuff through. So they have a link to, it's here. This is what we need to find, right? So if I go back to my post and go post item, and in here, so this link, and let's say const post link is equal to okay, path name is post, oh my god, my typing is terrible. Path name is that, and then state is background location. Okay, so we need to bring in location in here as well. Link and use location. Okay, and where were we? Yeah, I think it's getting to be time to break this one up. Feed item, so blah 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 blah. Const location is equal to use location, and that should be that. And then what we have is link to, and then instead of doing this, we say post link, and we try. Okay, so that works. Clicking it works, but yeah, you can see it's down at the bottom of the screen. So what I need to do now is I need to get that wrapped in a modal somehow. Okay. Oh man, what a pain in the ass. What happens if I go to post 50 directly? Crap, okay, so it's loading this underneath it. That's not what I want. So path is yeah, I wouldn't have expected. Okay, look, let's get it showing up as a modal first, and we can figure it out then. So post show right now, what we need to do is we need to wrap that in a modal depending on how it's been loaded. Can we do that programmatically in the post show component itself? So what would be nice is if I could figure out if this has been loaded modally or not. Actually, it won't matter because I'll always be loading it as a modal, even if you go directly to it in here, it should load up as a modal. Okay, so let's look for a half decent modal library for React and see, can we find something? So React modal, I'm pretty sure I've used this and I don't know if it's great. Let's see, demos. Minimal example, sounds good. Trigger modal, close modal, trigger modal, close modal, okay. Interesting. Is there styling or anything on that? I don't like that the styles on this thing. It looks a bit old as well. 20 days ago, okay, it's not too bad. You know what? Let's give this one a go. We can always change later on if we need to. Oh, I didn't save router DOM, did I? I did. Okay. So graph modal is now installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back to our post, and in here we're going to, yep, we definitely need to break this up. Okay, import modal from React modal, and then down here say modal. Now let's just see what that does. Nothing. But that item isn't showing anymore, which is progress, I think. Let's have a look at some of the props that I need to send in. Okay, so it's expecting is API documentation. Probably easier to just look at it here, to be honest. So is open, on, after open, on request, close, style, content label. Okay, so is open is obviously the most important thing. So let's say is open is true and see what happens. Okay, app element is not defined. Do I really need to do this? Oh, for fuck's sake. Maybe I can do this at the top level. Let's see, import modal from React modal. Let's see, modal.set app element to if this works, it'd be great because I can say L is equal to doc element by ID app, and then I can just do this. That makes sense actually, so it needs this so it can work for screen readers and what have you. So let's see. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. Sweet, that's literally exactly what I wanted. Okay. I'm still unsure with this one because it's loading the feed behind. So like if I was on another page, I'm not sure I'd want that to happen, but we'll proceed, you know, as we're going just for now and see how we get on. So there's a couple of things I'm not like the backdrop should be clickable and there's some other stuff as well. So let's have a look and see, can we fix that? Should close, oh, okay, should close on overlay click. I probably need to go to the API docs, unfortunately. So, examples, nope. So, API docs in the reference book, okay. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. That's what I wanted. So we have overlay class, in class, should focus after render, should focus on overlay. Click. That says true, which kind of indicates that that's the default, but I'm definitely not seeing that for me. So let's see. I wonder, is it because, like, what's it supposed to do exactly? Like, how does it go back? Like, it's not going to know to go back to here. How, like, we probably need to tell it what happens when it's not to show anymore. This is kind of interesting. So what we actually need is we need to be able to, in the mode of the request, okay. On request close is what we need instead. So what we're going to say is on request close is, we'll say close, just close. And we're going to do this again. This is taking way longer than I thought it would. I've done this before, and it's like, it was actually very straightforward. So I don't know, it's maybe just stuff has changed, or I'm just slower, I don't know. So let's do this. So when it goes to close, let's just close me. Make sure that's working. Okay, that's good. Or if I press the escape key, that's cool. Okay, so that's better than I expected. So what we want to do is basically say, if we have navigation state go back, otherwise go back to slash, right? So how are we going to do this? So we will need to say location is use location, and we probably don't need that unless we're, so let's console this out and see what's in there. Fuck. Okay, sorry. Even worse. Hooks can only be called inside the body of a function component. Did I miss something here? Invalid hook call. What? What am I doing wrong? It's, so this is in a location. Yeah, that's fine. So what's wrong with that? Is it because I'm doing it like this? Nope. Just can't call the hook like this. What? This is getting old really, really fast. Oh, Joe, come on. Sorry. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, it seems to not be doing anything now. Oh yeah, need to log it out. Okay, so this is more like it. Okay, so we've got path name. Actually, let's go back here and come back and then close and see what's different. Okay, so we've got the background. So what we can do is we can say, okay, if location dot state background. How do I redirect? I think I can just update the location, right, on the URL. yeah, look, I can just go like. I think I can just React router. Bum bum bum. Let's see. Props history push. Okay. Do we get a history component on here? We don't. Right. So how do we get the history component? Do we have a use history? We do. We have a use history. Da-da-da-da. Use history. Right. And then in here, I'm assuming use history is basically the same as. Yeah. Okay. So const history is equal to use history. And then what we say is history. Okay. So there's one thing that's kind of bugging me a little bit about this. And that's that if I use what I was about to use there, which was to push a new state onto the history object, that would, like, rather than going back and kind of using the browser component, the browser controls to go back, it would like pop a new state or push a new state onto the history. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to just console.log out what's in history. So when I load it directly, history contains this. Location, and go back. But what happens when I load it like this? Push location. Okay. Let's just, I'm going to try something very naive and see what happens. So history.go back. Okay, that's working, but it shouldn't work. So, oh. Do I even have a user account? I don't. Oh. See, because I refreshed the database, right? Yeah. Oh, I probably created. Did I create a seeder? User table. No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. Email is joe@example.com. Okay, and that should create a new user called joe@example.com with the password. Boom. Okay. So now when I click that, it still brings me back. Okay, I'm obviously being stupid. So let's see. So that's working, which is nice. So what we want to do next is actually populate this with the post. So let's get that happening, right? So in here, we need to now get the data from here to here, right? So we've already popped stuff onto state. I wonder if we pop a little more onto state, will that help us? And what will happen if we like go directly to the root then as well? I'd just be interested to see. I'm not mad keen about taking this approach, but let's see what happens. So we've got post. So I'm going to say post like that. And okay, so what then is, let's see. see what's in this post variable. Boom, boom, undefined, which is correct. 50. That's got all the detail. Boom. Defined, which is correct. 46. Reload. Why is it taking so long? How? How is it doing that? It just makes no sense. Okay, so what if I go and do this? Undefined. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. So it's handy that we can pass it through, but we obviously can't rely on it, right? So if it's undefined, then what we can say is we want to do something else with it. We want to load it essentially, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in use state here as well. Is this the router? What? Oh yeah, we don't need this in here. Okay, sorry, I was actually putting that in the wrong place, but anyway. So what we're going to do is, do you know what? Let's cut that out of here and bring it over here. And just console log it here. I just want to make sure I can actually access this variable and it has what we expect it to have. 46 is undefined. Oh, so that's yeah. That's what I didn't want to happen. Was that clicking? So you can see what happens here. If I change this to like 46, and then I click here, it's going to bring me back to 50 instead of closing the modal, which is not what I want. So instead of using history.goBack, we're going to have to like basically cut this out, right? So we're going to have to start looking at the location state and seeing what's there. Oh, this is a frustrating one. Anyway, what else have we got going on? So let's see if we. So looking back at my to-do list, like we're going to be lucky. I'm going to be very lucky to get this done in the next half hour, and I'm going to have to go after that. So got some work to do this evening. So yeah. So anyway, look, we'll come back to the profile and avatar stuff the next time. But hopefully, what we're doing here is going to make it easier for us to do that anyway the next day. So let's see. Let's just try and get this working. So So that's coming through correctly. Okay, so let's focus on getting the post to display first and foremost. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need state in here, right? So I'm going to say const post set post is equal to use state and an empty object. And then what we're going to say is const post from location state, and we're going to say if post from location state set post to post from location state. Kind of makes sense, I think. Is it just me or is this missing something? Oh, no, it's not. It's got the user. That's fine. So then what we're going to need to do is like use an effect and pass through this to say if this is not the case, then we should, yeah, we might need to do all of this in an effect actually. So let's say, let's just do this for starters. So we're going to say if post from location state set post, otherwise we're going to want to call so post from location state, and so otherwise we will load post, and we will pass in, okay, so then we're going to need to pass in the ID. So we're going to say const load post is equal to ID, actually is equal to async ID is equal to, and then this is going to need to do what? So I'm just going to hardcode in 1 in here for now, and in here we're going to say try, and we're going to say const response is equal to await axios dot get, And let's see. Let's have a look at some of our other Axios calls. We are doing what? Where is it's at the top, isn't it? Axios delete get API. Okay, so it should be straightforward enough. So we will need to API posts and then ID. And then we need to catch that, obviously. So catch error console.error error. Oops. And let's console.log the response here for now. Okay. That should be that. Let's see. So when we go to here, nice individual, can we check this somewhere? Let's see, modal. Do we have state in here somewhere? We do have state. Huh. Cool. So it has loaded it into state, which is good. What do we need to do next? So I'm just going to put it to do in here as well. So the user can navigate from post to post. So just put that in as a to-do. We'll need to address that shortly. So, okay, what are we doing? We've got state is populating now if you go, if it's in the state. If it's not, so if we go to 40, then it's calling this, but obviously this doesn't exist, so that's fine. So let's go to our API, and in here we're going to do what? We're going to say root get posts post controller at show. And if we go to post controller, there should be a show method in here somewhere. There's not. I must have deleted that thinking I wouldn't need it because I probably wasn't going to create one. Let's just copy. Yep. Let's copy all this. Post. Yep, perfect. Public function show request post. And just return post, I think. I think it really is as simple as that. I don't think we need to do anything too fancy. I think if we're looking at our index, for example, we just bring back data. So I'm going to move this up and keep our retrieval methods together. And keep our manipulation methods together as well. So, okay, so what happens now? Go to 1, preview. It's bringing that back, but we will need to say post load user in here before we return it, so that it returns the user record as well, which is perfect. Okay, so that's one, but obviously the last thing I need to do then is, instead of passing in 1, I need to pass in the actual ID that's coming in through the root, right? So I should be able to do that by, let's see, console.log location. Let's see what's on location. Where else am I console.logging that's causing that problem? Here. So, okay, so I've got path name is post 40. Huh. That's definitely not what I wanted. So I was expecting like an object with like ID 40 on it. Maybe I need, use params maybe. Okay, so I need to use params through that. Wow. Really are using all the hooks here. So use params, and then what we're going to say here is, so else we're going to say const ID is equal to use params, and we will console.log ID, see what happens. Hopefully. Oh, no. Oh yeah, okay. So we can't do that here. We're going to have to do that here as well. Which is fine, I think. 40, perfect. Goalpost ID. In which case I don't actually need to pass that as a parameter because I have it from up here anyway. So let's just do this and let's log out the response, and then when we reload, we get the data back. Perfect. So what we want to do is we want to say so I'm going to say data is post. No, I'm not going to say. I'm going to say post from server, and we're going to say post from server. Yep. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to get this actually displaying a post. So I'm going to have a look at my post feed item here and see, can we actually get this to work quite nicely? Oh man, okay. Oh, right. New problem. New problem. So you can see here that in this post feed item, I need to pass like delete post and update post through as props, but they're like, they don't exist on like I don't actually have them here, right? Because they're from the top level component, which I don't have any reference to in here whatsoever. So that's gonna become a problem. But let's see what happens if we just try and ignore the problem. Post feed. I might get part of the way. Like I definitely won't get updating and deleting working with this approach, but I might get it rendering. So let's give it a go. Oh, invalid time value. That's weird. So what's it bringing back? How is that an invalid time value? I am passing it through as a post, right? Post time value format distance parse ISO. Surprised at that, to be honest. Unless I this console.logout will post this because oh, it's nothing. Okay, so should I use suspense here? Okay. No, let's. We have a loader, right? We have a loading component. Yeah. So what we can do do we have that brought in here? We do. Yep. So what we can say is we can say post and this, right? So let's do that as a bare minimum and see what happens. Nothing. Valid time value again. Because it's an object. Okay, so let's set that to null. Okay, yeah, that's great. Really happy with that. So the styling is obviously off, right? And we need to figure out how to get the styling looking good. But essentially, you can click on something and actually view the detail of the post and get a URL that you can use to specifically navigate to a specific post. So that's good. The one thing I do want to fix right now is I want to fix the issue where if I go to 2, that's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so, and then if I say post 1, fantastic. So I want to fix the issue that seems to be outstanding, which is if I go from post to post, it jumps between them, as opposed to when I click on this, I always wanted it to dismiss, right? So let's sort that out. Okay, so what we're looking at here is console.log history and location. So what's in history and location? So we go in here, we go back. So the location just has a path name on it. I don't think it has. Oh, it has a state. Sorry, I'm looking at the location. I should be just focusing on history for now. So there's an action of pop, and then there's a location. Why is it? It shows an action of push, and then the action goes pop. I might need to say this. So action. So do this, and close. Up. Okay. So I can use the action to determine if history.action is equal to pop. And don't do history go back. Otherwise, do history.go back. I think. Right, so history push. Just see what happens if I do that. So just get rid of this to do as well. Oops. So if I go do this and I click, perfect. If I do this, and then if I go to like 42, I think that's it. 41, 43, click, boom, perfect. Okay, so that's that issue resolved, which is great. So I'm really happy with that. So what else do we need to do to get this looking the way we want it to look? For inspiration, I'm just going to go to twitter.com and I don't know, let's see, let's go to the Laravel PHP Twitter feed and let's click on this one. So this is how like a tweet shows up. So I wouldn't mind it kind of having a similar kind of style to this. So there's a couple of things. I actually don't mind that, I don't mind the inner part of it. I don't like the outer like box that it's currently rendering, which takes up the full screen for some reason as well. So I'd like to kind of fix that. I also don't like, so you see the way that this, when you scroll the page here, it's actually scrolling the modal. Whereas in here, when I scroll, you can see it's actually scrolling behind, which is not what I want. So we're going to try and fix that as well. And the width is also too wide. So I'd like to resolve that. And then once we've done those, and we probably need to bring in a close button as well, actually. So a close button. Once we've made those changes, then it'll be time to try and figure out the edit and delete, and that'll be for the next sprint, or for the next sprint, for the next stream. Yeah, okay, so let's see. So let's work on the styling now. So if we go back to the React modal, we have on request close, we have style, tons and tons of class names we can. Okay, so class names might help. So overlay class name. See the styles section for more detail. Okay, so let's see styles. Uh-oh. Whew. Give me a fright there. What's going on? Why can't I access? Is it down? It's just me. What if I go to Safari? Okay, something weird is going on here. Why? When you're trying to do a live stream, does stupid shit like this happen? Oh, okay. Okay, so I obviously got redirected to a HTTP link, but it's not running on port 80. It's only running on port 443. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. Okay, so the default styles are defined in the modal.default styles object and are shown below. You can change the default styles by modifying modal.default styles. Okay, so if we disable the default styles for that component, so that's fine. CSS has for the overlay or the content will disable the default styles for that component. I think that's kind of what I want. So let me see. If we say overlay class name and then let's just say BG gray 500, right? That's not what I want, but let's just see what happens. So, right. So what's the overlay's gone? Oh, okay, I get it. So the overlay's gone because I've removed all of this code as well, right? So what I need to do is I need to replace all of this as well. So I think I can do that pretty easy using Tailwind. So if I go Tailwind.css and top, yeah, this one. So if I want it to be inset 0, I think is what I need here. So inset 0. Yeah, sweet. Okay, it's not exactly what I want, but if I go pink 500 and opacity 50. Oh no, okay. So now yeah. So the background color needs to have an alpha channel on it, which I don't think there's any. I don't think Tailwind has any like background colors that would have an alpha channel. Let's see, alpha, no, RGBA. Okay, colors. I wonder, could we put in an RGBA value in here? Naming your colors, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's give up those on that one for now, and instead of, let's not make it have an opacity of 50. Instead, let's do something like styles overlay and then background color. Hang on. Okay. Background color RGBA 0.75. Try that. Oh, you joke. Okay, come on, Joe. Basic stuff. So I can't use the styles and use the class name. Okay. This is gonna break me. Okay. I'm gonna try one thing. I'm gonna try something like this, right? So if I go into my tailwind.config file, customizing colors, by default, do this border, text indigo, border, blue, gray, red, etc. Let's do override tailwinds. Okay, but my fear is that if I do this, so if I come in here and I say colors, and I pass in, let's say, pink 500 faded, that if I just, let's put in, just humor me for a second while I try this out and see does this work. It does. Okay, but I bet you I've lost all my pink. So I need the default. How do I get the default stuff to stay? Ah, there we go. Okay, so tailwind.config. Hey, come back. Go back to where you were. Thank you. So that needs to go in extend instead of in here. Like that. Hey, okay, and then if I click that, okay, getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Let's find out what pink 500 is, and let's customize that. Pink 500 is. We're going to have to get the RGB value 235.103.166 235.103.166. After all this, I'm probably not going to want the pink. It is kind of horrible. Okay, let's see. I'll go really light instead. It's not right. I should probably go like really dark or something instead. And let's see. I'm wasting so much time on this. But anyway, I've another 10 minutes. So let's see if we go. Let's go 800. So 150, 42, 109, and let's go back to 75% on this one. And just let's go dark, right? Because the inspiration I had was Twitter, which goes dark. So let's make ours dark. I think it needs to be black. I think it needs to be black. I'm just going to say black faded and do that. And we're going to then say in here BG black faded. Okay. Probably a little dark. Let's try 65%. Yeah, I think that's probably still a little dark compared to what Twitter have, but look, I'm only using Twitter as a reference point anyway. So the next thing we want to customize is the content styling. Okay, so you can see there's quite a lot of styling applied in here. So when I remove that, it's going to obviously have a pretty profound impact. So let's see, content. Using CSS classes. Class name. And we will say just just test for now, right? Because I don't know what I want to put in here. So test and okay. Right. So I want it to be kind of the same width as a feed. So if we go to the post, let's actually go to post and see what's in the render in here. I'll do this. What will happen? Okay, that's better. And if I say container mx auto and then do that, okay, that's definitely a start. And I'm going to change. So it seems to have this focus thing. So I'm going to say outline on focus shadow outline. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, it seems to have focus. I'm not sure what to make of it, to be honest with you. But and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say rounded because the post is rounded. Yeah, okay, that helps. And then the next thing is mx auto my8. Boom. Not bad. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It's not perfect. Like one thing we could try doing is like saying flex and then items center, justify content center. And that would allow us to get rid of the mx auto as well. And we should be able to get rid of, there we go. Oh, no, that didn't work. Interesting. Widthful, heightful. Sorry, justify center. I was using Bootstrap earlier and some Bootstrap utility classes, and nope, that didn't do it either. What am I doing wrong? Interestingly, it seems to get the height right, but not the width. Widthful. Oh yes, okay. So the reason is because of the max width, so we need to do that, and so we still do need mx auto. Okay, makes sense. So yeah, I don't mind it showing up in the center. Actually, I think that's okay. I don't like this though. Why? Like I get that you want it to be focusable. But I don't know if there's any benefit to showing, like, yeah, need to be careful here because obviously from an accessibility perspective that might be like a really bad thing to do. So I need to figure out something on that. But that highlight ring on focus when the modal is displayed, I'm not sure is providing any use. You know, I think what would be much more useful is, yeah, like it's just making sure that it's focused, which is good, and the escape button works. I really like this. I'm really happy with it. Okay, so what else? I mean, we could probably add a close button to it as well. So what we could do is we could say button class name, and we'll just say, I don't know, BG gray 900 text white, and we'll just put in times for now. Okay, and that's because I've used flex. Yeah, I'm not sure we want to use flex on here. I don't think it's going to provide us with a huge amount of benefit. So I'm going to go back to having my8 in play here. What that will allow me to do then is to say relative on that, which will hopefully, yeah, it's still fine. And then on here, we can say absolute. And then we'll just say right 0 and see what that does. Okay, that's better. I probably wanted to have a negative value though. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to achieve this using just Tailwind classes. I might need to put in some inline styles. Because I want to bring it up to so that it's kind of half over and half under. Or maybe I shouldn't bother. Maybe I shouldn't bother with this. You know, why am I doing that? When I could just say put it in a div with like a text or flex and justify end or something like that, and pop it in there. Yeah, and then like, so rather than doing what I'm doing, where I'm giving it this like background and stuff, I'll just do this. And if we say on click, what does it need to do when it clicks? It needs to close. Boom. Okay, that's cool. I do want to have a look at the styling in general. So there's a couple of things I don't like. The first thing is that it's very small. So we're going to say text 2XL. See what that does. And we're going to say font light. Not bad at all. Quite like this. I do want to say text gray 300 and then hover text white. Might even go a tad lighter. That's probably too light. We go in the middle. Okay, and I think I can maybe bump it up another couple here. Okay, that's too big. Yeah, I think that's probably about right. The only other thing I'm not keen on is the focus again. So focus, outline none, focus shadow inner. No, sorry, shadow outline. Let's see what that looks like. So yeah, I should. Ooh, Inception. Huh. Okay, so we'll need to know that we're in the post so that we don't display, or we don't make this a link, because it's already like we're already linked to it, right? So we don't need it to be linkable again. And I wonder if they do that in here. Yeah, like you can't click on the timestamp. Whereas I think on the tweet out here you can click on the time. Yeah, you can click on the timestamp to go to it. So yeah, so similarly, you know, once you're in the tweet, once you're in the post, you shouldn't be able to click on that link. So we'll need to fix that. Okay, so let's see. That focus is still off. I think it's a line height issue. Let's see what line height has. Letting none. Let's try it. Let's try letting none and see what happens. Ooh, that looks better. Yep, that looks better. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it rounded. Rounded full. Yeah, don't think that adds much other than making it look a bit weird. So let's just go back to the way it was. And I'm inspecting, like why is there space above it? I don't understand. Like line height is 1, which is perfect. Why is it so high? Like it's above the container. Pretty sure it's down to the size. There's no padding. There's no margins. It's just got this weird height. Right. Margin 0, 0. Line height is 36 pixels. I suspect the font size is 36 pixels too, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, look, it's not important. So perfect. That's great. Okay. So what have we? 37. Okay, let's do one last thing and let's call it a day. So I want to fix that. That's going to drive me crazy. So when it's in a modal, you shouldn't be able to do that. So what we'll do is we will say is modal is true. And then in our item, what we're going to do is we're going to have here is modal is equal to false. And what we can do then is we can say so do this. This will work, but yeah, we need to bring across the stylus. Now I'd like to do this a bit nicer, but there's not that many, so I'm just gonna duplicate it here. So yeah, I don't like duplicating stuff like this normally, but in this instance, there's just so little, it doesn't really make much sense to not do it. So now that's not clickable. So we can scroll, we can view, we can take this link, we can open up Safari, which we're not logged into, we can go to this post. So my API routes here aren't protected, but it's still sending me to the login screen. Is that? What did I just change here? Yeah, that's fine. So if I go to the web routes, name home controller. There you go. So if I do that, boom. That's pretty magnificent. Okay, so there's a couple of things in here that I should actually address pretty soon. So firstly, like, you can't log out because you're not logged in. Secondly, you can't post. So if I go and say hello, it's just going to fail, right? So if I, yeah, so let's see if I log out here. Huh. Yeah, okay, so we've got an error because I'm unauthorized, which is what should happen. But of course, I should see a login button here. And secondly, I shouldn't see this post screen at all. So, 5 minutes, okay. What, have we actually finished something? We have. So I'm going to check that off. We haven't finished these, obviously, but let's see. I wouldn't mind, but I have loads of work to do tonight, so I really shouldn't be doing this. I should be going home and getting some food and spending time with my kids. Not doing this crap, but I do want to get this bit done because it's log out. Okay, so we need to figure out if the user is logged in, right? So I'm just going to close up everything in a second. So if we open up the nav and we open up, let's open up post. So there's a way that I'm checking to see if the user is a current user. So I have a way of checking the user, right? So if I come into nav and I basically try and use the context to get the user ID, then what I should be able to do is, context is not defined, of course not, because so okay, so user ID and that. Fuck. Okay. Excuse my language. User ID. NAN. Why is it trying to do that? Why does it care if it's a number? If we do that. Okay, I need to log out what this is. It's probably a string, right? NAN. Why is it NAN? Okay, it must be where I'm setting user context. So, just 1 second, I'm gonna have to answer the door. Okay, I'm back for the 2 minutes that's in it. Right, I did turn the mic back on, I did. Okay, can't remember what I was doing. Okay, so I couldn't figure out why the user ID wasn't working. So user ID, so that must be passed in from here. Ah, yeah. Okay. So if that's not defined, then it's going to be not a number. Of course it is, right? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get this, and let's get it as a string first. Then if user ID string, no, let me do it, let, right? And then, so let user ID is equal to that, and if user ID, say user ID is equal to parse int user ID. I made some mistake here now. Okay. So what am I doing wrong here? It's empty. Okay, so in here I need to say if dot length is greater than 0. So user ID is equal to user ID, the length is greater than 0. Do that, otherwise null. Try that. Okay, that's better. So now what I want to do is I can get rid of these. And in here, I'm going to say not user ID and go to login. So class name login. Boom. Okay, that's nice. So then the last thing I want to do is just on my post component, I'm going to do something very similar. I don't have the user context here, of course I don't. So we will need to bring that in as well. We do have the context in already though, so all we have to do is this, and then we will be saying something somewhere here, user ID and that, otherwise no. Okay, so we have a little bit of an issue with just the layout. So we were relying on the padding on the post form. So what we're going to say here is margin top 8 on that, and then on post feed we will say margin y8 on this. Even just margin top 8 as well, so we didn't ever have margin on the bottom of it anyway. So we reload. Okay, and if we log in, then we get the post box and the logout button. Log out, boom. That's, yeah, I'm glad I did that now as well. Okay, so with that done, I'm just going to test that this still works, and it does. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very quickly kill off browser sync, and I am going to do a git status, and in here we can see got some really nice changes. So I'm definitely going to add the controller methods. I am definitely going to add the package.json and package-lock. I am going to add everything in the resources directory, and I'm going to add roots. And yeah, the stuff that's in the public directory is always built anyway, so I'm not going to commit those right now. Let's see, git commit, and what did we do today? So we added React router, new screen for individual post, fixed feed not working for unauthenticated users, and we will do that and git push, and we'll just check everything's up on GitHub. One minute ago. Excellent. Okay. So yes, we didn't get to do the edit profile avatars or anything like that today, but that's okay. I think we still made some really good progress, and it's nice that we now have multiple screens, including a modal screen as well, which works. Oh, sorry. I forgot I had killed it off. I can still access it from here anyway. So yeah, so Retrosumo. So once I go to that and once I reload, it's still there. I like as well that it loads the feed in the background. That's pretty cool, but that might not work for all of our modals. So we'll need to, as we add more screens, we'll need to figure out if that still works for us or not. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And we got the stuff around authentication fixed. We got some of the styles on the modal working as well. And overall, I think it's been a pretty productive day. I just saw Otaku Dude. Sorry, I didn't see your chat come in. I was so stuck in the weeds that I actually didn't notice your chat message come in. But yeah, really good, really good. Unfortunately, now that's all I've got time for today. I really do need to dash. But yeah, hopefully you stuck around and enjoyed the end of the stream. And I'll be back again on Monday with the next episode. And until then, yeah, as usual, subscribe. You can find all the videos on YouTube. So if you've missed anything or you only caught some of the stream today, you can watch the whole thing back again on YouTube. I'm in the process of getting some thumbnails put together for my YouTube videos. It's taking me a bit of time, but I'm getting there. So yeah, so go check them out. Subscribe on my YouTube channel, on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter, and look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Thanks.